Hello and happy WikiTree Day. Welcome, Peter. How are you?
Hey, thank you for having me.
No problem. We're here today to talk about the Bahamas project with Peter Roberts. Peter Roberts is a WikiTree member, is part of the DNA project, the DNA innovation team. He's also a member of the MitoYDNA.org team and has done lots of stuff. If you've been in G2G and had any question about DNA, chances are you have seen Peter's responses and very helpful videos and work. So welcome, Peter, and take it away.
Thank you so very much. I have recorded a presentation, and Greg is going to play for that for us now. But I look forward to answering any questions that people have after the presentation, and also via email. So please, if you have any questions, I'm more than willing to communicate.
Excellent. Let's hear about the Bahamas project.
Celebration. I'm WikiTree ID Roberts-7085, and known to the rest of the world as Peter Roberts. Welcome. When you have arrived, Bahamians sometimes say, "You done reach." Special thanks to Eowyn, WikiTree's leadership, Bahamas project members, and other collaborators, and especially you in the audience. Let's all celebrate WikiTree's birthday, and special thanks for Chris Whitten for making it all possible. WikiTree's Bahamas project traces its roots to the Bahamas DNA project, which began in the summer of 2004. The Bahamas Genealogy Group, which began on Yahoo Groups and migrated to Groups.io. Bahamas DNA project members would send me their ancestral descendant charts, and I would add them to the web. However, we could not always agree on the correct parents for some of our shared ancestors. In 2013, I began looking for a genealogy site where the Bahamas DNA project members could add their own family trees to the web. Because many Bahamians share some of the same ancestors, this genealogy site needed to be a collaborative single-family tree. I figured there could be a way to link those ancestral lines to the Bahamas DNA project. To a large degree, the Bahamas DNA project is masquerading as WikiTree's Bahamas project. I invited the Bahamas DNA project members to join me in exploring a new area of the internet, similar to how the first inhabitants of the Bahamas ventured out in their dugout canoes. Here is our paddle and our canoe. Let's explore WikiTree. The purpose of the Bahamas DNA project is to help grow our shared Bahamian family tree. We currently have 173 members, and 96 of them have made over 100 contributions. The Bahamas project is one of 26 nation projects in WikiTree. I invite you to explore parts of that tree to see how our families are tightly woven together. Project member Anne Carmel has assembled and maintains the most comprehensive list of Bahamian genealogy resources that I'm aware of. The original purpose of the Bahamas project was to associate Y-DNA and all known males who could have inherited that Y-DNA, and similarly associate mitochondrial DNA with persons who could have inherited that mitochondrial DNA. From early on, WikiTree could display an ancestor's descendants. A father passes his Y-DNA to his sons. So I asked WikiTree to display direct male line descendants and show which ones have inherited that Y-DNA and which ones have Y-DNA tested. A mother passes her mitochondrial DNA to her children. So WikiTree now displays direct female line descendants and shows which ones have taken a mitochondrial DNA test. What types of DNA could be associated with ancestry? Let people know if a profile belongs to a direct paternal line that has been Y-DNA tested, and that's what you see here. Let them know if a profile belongs to a direct maternal line that has been mtDNA tested or mitochondrial DNA tested. Also show which autosomal DNA testers are in WikiTree or a close relative in WikiTree. If you properly cite, now an autosomal test is most useful within 8 generations. So I asked WikiTree to create a compact 8-generation tree that could be shared with a user's autosomal DNA matches. If you properly cite how sufficiently matching DNA supports a known parent-child relationship, then mark that relationship as confirmed with DNA. Many of WikiTree's features are outgrowths of the integration that I wanted for the Bahamas DNA project and WikiTree's Bahamas project. The Bahamas DNA project was the second geographical project at Family Tree DNA. As years went by, more and more members began testing at different labs. Now, GEDmatch is a separate database for autosomal DNA and X chromosomes, which allows DNA matches and comparisons between different labs. MitoY-DNA is a separate database for Y-DNA and mitochondrial DNA, which allows for matches and comparisons between different labs also. By adding a GEDmatch ID to WikiTree or a mitochondrial or a MitoY-DNA ID to WikiTree allows WikiTree to find matches and make those comparisons. This is because GEDmatch and MitoY-DNA are integrated with WikiTree. WikiTree can show the father-son relationships along a direct paternal line. On the profiles of each of those males, there is Y-DNA information, such as the number of markers tested, the Y haplogroup, the KIT number, and the MitoY-DNA ID. If you click on the MitoY-DNA ID, then it displays the Y haplotype, the Y chromosome signature. Bahamas project members Pete Toombs added over 200 Y-DNA tested lines to WikiTree. Similarly, WikiTree can also show relationships along a direct maternal line. On each of those profiles, there is mitochondrial DNA information, such as the region of mtDNA tested, the mitochondrial DNA haplogroup, KIT number, and MitoY-DNA ID. If you click on the MitoY-DNA ID, then it displays the mitochondrial DNA differences. Project member Keith McAllister added over 128 mtDNA tested lines to WikiTree. The Bahamas is a small group of islands, and over the centuries, Bahamians have often ended up marrying cousins, usually third and fourth or greater cousins. My paternal aunt traces all of her ancestry to the Bahamas, and this graphic shows the different ways she and her autosomal DNA cousins match each other. WikiTree's relationship finder shows the relationship between two Bahamians, in this case Jeremy and Irene. They are second cousins once removed. twice removed. And WikiTree's relationship finder also tells us that they both also descend from 6 other ancestral couples from the Bahamas. With endogamous groups like this, it's often difficult to determine which ancestor is contributing to a shared segment of autosomal DNA. So it's often helpful for persons who only have Bahamian ancestry to use WikiTree to find matches with autosomal DNA testers who have taken autosomal DNA testers who only have a little bit of Bahamian ancestry and focus on that shared ancestry, that shared Bahamian ancestry. Another way to work through Bahamian endogamy is to use X chromosome matching or xDNA matching. These WikiTree charts show how xDNA is inherited by males and females. When you have an xDNA match, it can only be from an ancestor on the yellow shaded areas of the fan chart. These fan charts can display up to 11 generations. By clicking on the descendant icon, each of these has a little descendant icon. And by clicking on the descendant icon of a fan chart, WikiTree can display all the descendants who could have inherited that ancestor's xDNA. That descendant chart also displays which of those descendants have tested their X chromosome. And it lets you compare their xDNA via GEDmatch to see if that xDNA matches. There are a few Bahamian ancestral lines which connect to earlier ancestry in WikiTree. WikiTree Plus is able to automatically map the birth and death locations of those ancestors. The Albury immigrant has ancestry from Wales and England. Malone's ancestry is Ireland and England. Weatherford is England. Curry is mostly Ireland, Scotland, and England. Gould and Butler are mostly England. Monroe is Scotland and continental Europe. And Baker is Germany and the Netherlands. Just over 12,000 profiles are for persons born, married, died, or resided in the Bahamas. Adding the Bahamas code to a profile places a sticker on that profile and puts that person in the Bahamas category. If the Bahamas had a population equal to the United States, then the Bahamas category would be approximately 10 million profiles. The Bahamian profile with the most categories is Conrad Pennybaker, who was a turncoat bigamist during the American Revolution. Free space pages have been created for some Bahamian boats and houses. Hopefully more use of these free pages can be made in the future. Notables in the Bahamas project include the pirates Blackbeard and Bonny, among others. Woodes Rogers circumnavigated the world between 1707 and 1711. During his voyage, he rescued a sailor from a remote island 400 miles west of South America, and that story was the inspiration for Daniel Defoe's Robinson Crusoe. In 1718, he expelled the pirates from the Bahamas and became that colony's first royal governor. John Murray was the last colonial governor of Virginia, and his next post was governor of the Bahamas. He's known in the Bahamas as Lord Dunmore. Sidney Poitier was born in Miami, Florida, to Bahamian parents. He spent his childhood in the Bahamas. He was the first black actor to win the Academy Award for Best Actor. He was knighted by the Queen in 1974. Esther Roll was born in Pompano Beach, Florida, to Bahamian immigrants. She was an Emmy award-winning television actress and best known for her roles in the TV shows Maude and Good Times. Al Roker is a well-known weather presenter and television personality. His direct paternal line is of Bahamian origin. Lenny Kravitz is a Grammy Award-winning singer-songwriter. He is the son of actress Roxy Roker and is a cousin of Al Roker. The Bahamas Project is seeking additional collaborators and leaders, including other roles such as sorcerer volunteers. I hope we can work more with WikiTree's Cemeterius project, add succession boxes for the Bahamian leaders, and add profiles for notable Bahamians listed in WikiTree. When I visited remote parts of the Bahamas, I've been sometimes asked, who are your people? The Bahamas Project is seeking that answer for everyone with a connection to those islands. Thank you for attending. Well, there we have it. Can you hear me,
Thank you
Greg?
very much. Yeah,
Okay.
that's great. Do we have any questions for Peter? If you do, just put them in the chat. And Peter, you said that they could email you if they have questions after the fact. Do you want to put your email? Are you comfortable putting that?
Yeah, it's peterebay@yahoo.com. I'll put it in the chat also. And you can also reach me on WikiTree. If you do a search on WikiTree for Peter Roberts, I'm one of the Peter Robertses that does show up with some DNA icons next to my name, saying that I've taken a mitochondrial test, Y-DNA test, autosomal test. So you can find me in WikiTree. If you search for Bahamas DNA Project WikiTree, you'll find me.
Excellent.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for having me. I deeply appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Okay. And everyone, have a great WikiTree day and enjoy the rest of the day and the other presentations. See you later.
Take care. Okay.
Bye.